Hey, hey, how y'all doing out there? Good, good. Yo, welcome to Open Mic. Bring to the stage one that we all know and love. For sure. Hey, what's up, girl? Y'all, give it up, for my girl, your girl. Justa Verse.
Do beautiful people, my melanated kings and queens. It's your girl, Justa Verse. You know what I'm talking about? It's just the conversations, lyric and poetry edition. Hey y'all, what it do, beautiful people? It's on Jason. Hey y'all, what it do, beautiful people? It's on Jason. So it looks like there's some technical difficulties going on. What it do, beautiful people, my melanated kings and queens. It's another edition of It's Just a Conversations. This is the lyrics and poetry edition. We've been doing this all month. Um, this week we are featuring the one and only Jason. I'm gonna see if I can, because he's having a couple little technical difficulties right quick. So I'm gonna see if I can do a little something, a little razzle mixed with a little dazzle right quick. See what we can get going on, so you can hear this man's piece and we could talk about it. Let's go.
Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? Feels like yesterday I just seen her, and that's what got me so annoyed. You ever felt this way before? You and a person fell off, the relationship wasn't shaky, but you don't want to seem flaky, so you decide not to pick the phone call or send a text at all. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? Where she been? I've been checking for her. First time she went missing was when my parental played distant. I reached out with my hand as high as my eyes could see, leaving me exposed, thinking they'd be ever present, but all I got was an absentee. Where could she be? My joy. I replayed my last moments with her. I took the L, but for once I wish that I could be the sore winner. You know the spoiled type. Complaining to my boys like, both my parents want me home for dinner. How whack is that? Family trip to the Bahamas in the winter. Where they do that at? My parents are so not cool. One's a lawyer, the other a CPA. That's boring. Why they gotta show up to the PTA holding hands, showing PTA? That's corny. Meanwhile, I can't even get minds to see me dance, sing, or play a sport. Isaiah 41:10 is the first place I ever learned about child support. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? Heard the knocking and I let her in. Closed the door and she left again. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? My life as a whole has lost its entertainment value. No big highlights, not even a little. I have no commentary on what's really going on. I just shut up and dribble. And if we're talking about practice, first place I've learned unless it's falling alone on my room floor every night as I pump fake sleep while one eye shut and the other on the room door. I go to school with scuff marks every day, and no one ever asks why. The adult that is rearing me is tearing up my backside. So why act surprised when life reveals what happens behind closed curtains? When it's statistically seen that the average Joe Jackson could be a mean person, I was supposed to be protected. Now I gotta be more concerned about defense instead of playing because my safety's been ejected. Ejected from this life that feels like the championship for my innocence. The Bengals versus the Rams. Now I'm forced to keep secrets. It's the silence of the lambs. The only player on the team, and as crazy as it seems, the ops could be my father, auntie, coach, uncle, pastor, family friend, or school dean. It only takes one time, but encroachments can keep you behind the scrimmage line for years. So for 25% of the time, I'm feeling paralyzed with fear, thinking I'll never get that quarterback. And just as I accepted the fact that for another season, I'll still be a loser, is when I find out what Luke 17:2 says about child abusers. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? I heard the knock, let her in. She closed the door and left again. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? She said, "You a dork and a lame. Look at your glasses. Big old window frames. Oh, so you mad now? You don't want to fight. You want to inbox me. What's your prescription?" I bet you could see the spirit of prophecy. Her words left me weak for 7 days. It was like the sun with a microphone and the sky was up PA. It was blinding and clear, announcing to my peers of how much of a nerd I am. At least that's how it appears from my interpretation of the sound pressure received by my ears. 343 meters per second until it hit the glass of my pain, hard, wetting me up with rain shards. Why am I cut deep but my pieces are ones in stitches? That loud crash was my heart smashed. Those hard laughs spun my head in a circle, shot down by Ron Brown's verbal. This is supposed to be a place of learning higher and not a gun range for ready, aim, fire. Justin, new data shows from the latest polls. We don't only need gun control in America, we need tongue control. Reeling by the onset from my circumfriends, I scanned my radii twice, trying not to cry, but tears multiplied. Now all I want to do is go home, eat a rat poison laced pie, and hope that they die. It's been some time. I can't lie, those feelings of the world against me has become a part of my reality. Everything is a competition, not to be the best I can be, but to best everyone who ever disrespected me. Not even want to be a part of my circle. I pretend that they care, but back then, nobody thought it was cool to be around a square. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't king of the jungle. But that's the pride talking. I just need courage enough to sit down and be humble. My heart still hurts, and I don't understand it fully. 1 Corinthians 10:12. Take heed, lest the victim become the bully. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? He heard the knocking. I let her in, closed the door, and she left again. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? I got a sweet tooth for them thick ones. I call them juicy fruit like the stick gum. Only real sugar. I don't mess with substitute. 90 or 200 pounds. All I need is living proof. If she got that fudge round, that's a bust down. I'ma eat it too. They all got a price on it. It ain't even about wealth. Like a kid in the candy store, I'm always looking towards top shelf. They come to me when they want their values gone. Trade or worth just to give me what I thirst for, a value poem. Consequences and repercussions, I don't care about none of that. And that's why I created the How to Be a Garden Tool Starter Pack. How did I reach a place in my life where the respect I have for my counterparts and the respect I have for myself is so low that it's laughable? All jokes aside, what would I have accomplished on the day I die? What would I have yielded from seeds I've sown when I expire? Sunflowers or hellfire? What will I produce as fruits of my labor? Live a destructive life and pay 9 later? It's now or later. All because I wanted a little fun with a little Debbie hun, who I got no love for and my heart numb. Cause all I want to do to this Hershey one is bite and chew and blow on her bubble yums. How in the world did I get this way? I was 5 years old when I was introduced to objectification, sexualization, and dehumanization of the worst kind. From that point on, I was desperate. I was so smart. Everywhere I went, it was the same topic about women like they were objects instead of mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers. To someone like me, they were all prospects. Now allow me to tell and prove the mindset of a young, impressionable, immature dude. See, I was with the crew, and a lady came strolling through, and we all looked back, and I had no idea what I was looking at. I saw everyone doing it, so I continued until it became a normal behavior, acquired taste until it was my kind of flavor. So when Cash Money took over for the 99 in 2000, I was out here wilding. Phone flip with the belt clip. I'm out here styling. Next chick hit me up. I'm on the phone like, baby girl, is we touching or what? Trying to create that scene with Tommy in the car with the lollipop bra from Belly. BET uncut late night tip drill with Nelly. But what I didn't see is the lining of my heart weakening. I had no concept of love for the women except for when we freaking. Lying to myself like I got needs. Yeah, a blood transfusion because my veins dried up and my heart won't bleed. I had some childhood traumas, and it's no excuse for the way that I live. My family life was almost always negative. So like the dude laid up in the house, my mom had me calling uncle. The truth is not relative. I just want to feel again. I could scrub my body parts for the number of times for the bodies I marked, and I still wouldn't have a pristine start. But Psalms 51:10 extended to me the possibility of a clean heart. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? I heard her knock, and I let her in. Closed the door, and she left again. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? School. School again. Back to church. Then again, there was no school at my school, no church at my church. So now it's homeschool and home church. I just want to go outside, you know, ball with the guys, walk the streets, maybe bike ride. No days complete without a sweet tea and a dollar fry. It ain't COVID keeping me indoors and coy, but it's grown men outside with big toys that make a whole lot of noise like blah! Another man down, dead on the spot. He was married to the game. He never Lego his block. It's a sad story and most times mad gory. They test gangsta out here. If you think you ready to bust, think twice before you do it. The homies got you charged up. Just remember, the batteries is not included. It used to be said, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Well, these are different times. If you live by the law, you'll die in the cross. Because bullets got no name, but they deliver a message and it's clear. You don't stand a chance of living if you laying down here. Unless you got a tech and a vest to protect your neck before the cops come and have you chalk lined up like an etching sketch. If you rap, you make it out the hood, good. Stay out the hood. If a lane with the cash flow looking for fast dough, it ain't a game. They gonna hit him for every dollar he has, bro. I just want to go outside. I've rehearsed what I wanted my mother to say at my eulogy. I keep replaying it in my head because I know what the streets will do to me. Goes a little something like this. Family and friends. Here lies my beloved son in whom I am, or was, well pleased. My son didn't want us to let the doves fly. He thought they might be shot out of the sky by someone mistaking them for pigeons, thinking they were out here snitching. All he did was love God and his family, look at cars, and lay up in his drawers and watch anime. So immediately following this service, we will put him in a funeral wagon. And no, he will not be back for another episode. We will not be looking for the orange balls to summon the dragon like he imagined. He is gone. So for the rest of y'all, his memory will fade like the beautiful colors on the t-shirts y'all made and sold for $20 a pop, which none of it went to his family for the burial plot. But it's all right though. Just give it a few. We'll all be doing fish fries and barbecues for some of y'all too. His father's suits are hanging in the closet for him. but he'll never grow up. His future wife, all dressed in white, is waiting for him, but he'll never show up. It's like a punch to the gut, and I don't understand how it is. The best thing you could do for your kids is move out of the hood and find someplace else to live. This letter, I put this folded in my back pocket after I signed it. So if I'm gunned down from slug rounds, the EMS will find it. Or I could throw a fit, probably even get mad. I don't even have a scripture for this one. It's just sad. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? I heard the knock and I let her in. She closed the door and she left again. Whatever happened to Black Boy Joy? I heard a familiar voice, one that I've heard before. Her voice was like fragrance. It was Black Boy Joy, I'm sure. It took me a few years to clear my head, but with a lean in and a whisper, this is what she said. Black boy, sweet prince, what has happened to your countenance? You've been pouting, breathing hard and shouting to yourself, but I've been here the whole time and you have yet to seek my help. Black boy, my sweet prince. You heard the knock and let me in. You closed the door while I was already in. Black boy, your light has gone dim from neglect, abuse, bullying from the outside and within, sexualization, and the streets over and over and over and over and over again. Black boy, let me tell you of unspeakable love. I've come down specifically for you from the Father above where I reside. I am full, and where I am is where He is, and where He is in you. Seek and you will find. Ask and say, it is mine. Black boy, you must always look up, because what's down is the dust of the ground, but you've been made for so much more and for bigger stuff. Black boy, don't you see you've been redeemed? I've come to give you back all of your self-esteem. Black boy, repent and bow to the King. He has forgiven all, and He promised to rejoice over you and sing. Black boy, just this once I will leave, but I will be back with love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. They are all a part of my team. Black boy, I brought this message from heaven, and it comes from John 15, 9 through 11. Just as the Father has loved me, I have always loved you. Remain in my love. If you obey my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commandments and remain in His love. I have told you these things so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. Amen. Amen.
Let me tell y'all something about this here show right here. First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? It's not just basketball with my people, yo. Man, Jason. Well, welcome everyone. We're gonna talk about why Shay is not here later because I have a special shout out. But Shay may pop in, she may not, I'm not sure. Our boy Anthony is out there making movies and stuff. He's filming right now. So, you know what I'm saying? It's big boy things going on. Because like I told y'all, there's levels to this on this here show. And all of that talent and love going on with these people out here. You know what I'm saying? My dad decided to step in. What up, Daddy?
How you doing? Just happened to be in the neighborhood. Thought I'd stop by, but I'm telling you, I'm definitely glad I caught that. I caught that. I'll take
There's
any
1 week for you to come.
Drop
right?
knowledge. I'll take knowledge. I don't care. You never know where it's gonna come from.
So we got all of this talent, and you know what I'm saying? Jason is no different, you know. Jason. So, first of all, thank you for allowing us to feature you this week. I know you're usually, you know, on the show or whatever as one of the people that's just a part of the show. And I asked you to do this because a few years ago, Cheryl was disobedient, Shay was disobedient, and she let me hear a piece of yours that she wasn't supposed to let nobody hear. She let me hear it. And I'm like, dude is dope. And ever since then, like I kind of forced you into doing some work with me, and it's been nothing but bars ever since. So I appreciate you for taking the time out to come share that piece with us. Super dope. So let's dive in, bro. Let's dive in.
Y'all got any well, I'll start off with why I wrote it. So I have a 6-month-old, and one day I was holding him on the couch, and he was just like laughing for like no reason. Like nothing was funny. He was just having a ball and laughing. And I'm like, you know what? I wish that I could feel like that most of the time, but life just does certain things to you on a daily basis that just sucks the joy out of you. So I would sing this song to him. I got J-O-Y, joy, joy in the Holy Ghost. And I would sing it to him, and he just light up and start laughing. I'm like, man, I wish that I could embody some of that joy. So I started thinking, I'm like, well, what are some of the things that sap the joy from out of people? And you know, they have this term called black boy joy. And so I incorporated that. Like, what are some things that suck the joy out of black men, black boys? And so there were numerous topics. And so I decided to break it down actually in seven different areas. I didn't cover all 7 areas. I felt like, you know, you want to give the people something they could chew on and not be bored and fall asleep. So I stuck to
your words, first of all, but okay.
So the first area was definitely from a young man's perspective of he grew up in a 2-parent household. He has those things that people would deem the American dream, but he's not really satisfied with that. Right? He wants to be like the people he see on the streets or on the TV. Oh wow, bars. But he wanted to be like those individuals. And so he is finding ways to kind of like, you know, put himself in that. So that is the person that person I just described is someone who's that person is the object of the person that's speaking, right? They want to be that guy, but they can't. They don't have a 2-parent household, right? And they have a parent that's absent, whether mother or father, it didn't make a difference. That person is not around. And so this person is sad and they want to be like everybody else, but the joy keeps getting sucked out of them every single time. And so I'm calling him back for black boy joy to come back. And for me, it's based on the fact that no matter how much you lack the support of your parents, you have a heavenly father. So I included the scripture in there that talks about that, and it just mentions like, God the Father says that I will uphold you with my right hand, and that's supporting your child, right? So that's where I got that part from. The second individual was someone who is being abused. And that is an area where we see a lot of children, not only just black children, but especially black children, where you have this abuse happening, and what goes on in the house got to stay in the house. And so no one knows what's happening to you. And so this boy is now working through his feelings of trying to internalize this thing. And a part of his explanation is dealing with the things that he loves, like sports. So he's talking about football and basketball, and he's relating these childhood things that he loves to do with the trauma that's going on. It's his escape. And so towards the end, as he grows up, he realizes that, hey, look, now I have a chip on my shoulder. So everywhere I go, the people I talk to, I have something to prove, right? Because of what happened to me, how I was traumatized. And so I'm trying to find a way to best and top everybody that I possibly can. And so the warning for him was to be careful. because the very thing that the very thing that you despise and that you hate, what I mean, it could come back. And so what happens after that is this individual, now he's struggling and dealing with, the trauma. And so I added in a scripture after that that just talks about, hey, look, somebody did something to you that's horrible. And although they may have escaped momentarily, there is judgment for that individual as well. So you are not by yourself. And so that was the second individual. The third individual was a person who's dealing with bullying. Bullying is another thing that sucks the life out of children, Black children. Here in Georgia, specifically in Atlanta, there was a young boy whose mom was on TV. They featured her on a TV show, and he was, I believe, 7 years old. Well, she came in the house to find him dead. He had got the gun and shot himself after numerous complaints to teachers, parents going to the school about kids bothering him, and he couldn't take it anymore. And so he killed himself. And so that bullying, that bullying that I'm mentioning is, this man is carrying that in his heart for a long time. Just something off of what a woman said to him or a girl said to him long ago is now impacting his life in the present. And so he takes this approach of now becoming a bully, right? And so my warning to him is to take heed lest you fall, or pay attention, because you might be becoming the very thing that you hate. And so for the next individual, this individual, you may not think about it, Black boy joy being sucked out of him, but at some point in time, he lost his innocence as far as how he viewed women, right? The way he looked at females. And it happened because of the culture around him, his upbringing, and that sucked out his joy, but he doesn't realize it took it away. He thought he's having fun. He thought he was having fun objectifying and treating women in a different way and seeing them in a different light, but not realizing that it actually has been impacting his insides until later on down the road. And so he's explaining on what he used to do, the good old days, but then there's a sober moment where he's like, man, what I'm doing is not cool, because what is the final outcome of my behavior? And so the passage that comes after that is, is crucial, because now he's repentant. Now he's like, well, I've done a lot of, I got a lot of bodies, bro. Like I treated people horribly, but the grace that God offers is that whenever you have that realization, you have an opportunity to scrub all that. And to me, that's powerful, because as a people, we deal with so much shame and guilt all the time, and to be able to have that release is powerful. So he's going through that. And then the last one is an individual, a young man who is, he's raised in a religious household. He has, parents that care about him. Unfortunately, they live in a place that doesn't offer him safety always. And so he's always kept inside. He can't go nowhere. And he wants to do that. And, his parents got a regimen for him, home, church, school, but he just want to hang with the fellas, but it's not safe. And then the pandemic hit, and that secludes him even more, because now he really can't go outside, right? He can't go nowhere. So he's having that struggle, and he's talking about, what he wants to do. But the thing that is stopping him is the violence in the streets. Here in Georgia, as well in other places, specifically the metro Atlanta area, the violence is really high. Like, you turn on the news and it's like people getting shot in grocery stores. And it's not even just hood people or street people. Like when I say street people doing stuff, like they in the streets, it's innocent people now, like kids and stuff like that. So you have communities, even, north of us, that kids can't even walk to school without the threat of violence and dying. So he's replaying that reality in his mind, even to the point where he creates a eulogy, because he knows for sure, I'm not going to make it out of here. Oh. And so he writes this, and his mom reads it. And it also goes back to the fact that as a community, we struggle in the area of proper plans for leaving this realm of existence. And it's to the point where we're always having some GoFundMe. We're always doing something to help somebody after they pass away. Unfortunately, that money can't really help that individual now. It's just to bury him, or her. And so we struggle with that. So I have elements of that in the piece as well. And this young man just, you know, with the threat of violence like that, and living in that type of environment, like there's no hope. Even if you do good, even if you go to church, even if you do the right things, the chances of you getting killed is still high, like everybody else, because of the environment. And so this young man is dealing with that, and it's taking the joy, and it's making him sad, because all he wants to do is be normal. So in the last part, I couldn't leave it without um, helping those individuals get their joy back. Joy being personified as a woman who has some qualities about her that is nurturing and correcting, and admonishing. And so there's this quest for these individuals looking for this woman personified joy, and not being able to find her, but she's always been there. She never left. She was there. It's that things were happening in their life to prevent them from seeing her. And so in the end, you have this individual who's a collective. He is representative of all the different individuals in the piece. And he's saying to himself, like, wait, hold on. At the end of the road, I'm hearing joy. It's just that I wasn't really paying attention, but she's been talking, that still small voice. And so joy goes in and tells him how, she's been there the whole time, and that she comes from God. And so even when you can't find these things because you've been sexually abused, you've been bullied, you've been torn down, you've done a lot of dirt and done a lot of damage, that there's still opportunity for you. There's still grace for you. There is love, and there is happiness at the end of the day. And so that took me to the verse that I concluded with, was the verse from Matthew, where Jesus Christ himself talks about how to obtain that joy. So it's like we go through all of that just to go back down to where he tells you, hey, this is how you get the joy. The joy doesn't come from inside of you. It got to come from somewhere else, which is from God, to be true joy and to be everlasting, and not walk away the minute something happens to you. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the premise of the piece. So I hope it was coherent and everybody understood it and gravitated to it.
Most definitely. So and for those of you who are tuning in for the first time this week, the Lyrics and Poetry edition is where we feature someone who has great lyrics and her poetry. And we don't just say, yo, listen to this line. This line was hard, yo. This is where, whatever. But we actually break down the piece in terms of having a conversation on the subject matter. So, yes, Jay has some fire bars in there. Go back and rewind. You can hear them over and over again. But I just want to explain to you why he's just breaking down the subject versus just bar for bar. Because this right here, this is a great one. And I'm really glad that my dad decided to come on and join us this week, because that's deep. It's deep on so many different levels. I look at Makai, and I see how hard it is for him to smile sometimes. And compared to a lot of people, he's had a great life. But as your piece says, there's so many different things that can drain that joy from a Black boy. Simply being in a place like Atlanta where he can't drive down the street and feel safe, because I don't know, not if I'm gonna get shot or whatever from the thugs and all that, but I'm scared a cop is gonna pull up on me and there'd be a problem. Things like that can drain your joy. Having influences of those around that's saying, like you said garden tool. Makai used to call them garden utensils. I'd be like, Makai, just say ho. No, garden utensil. But turning into that type of person because of the pressures around you, all of these types of things. I look at Johnny, and I do it with both of them, but I make sure to do it. I have my one-on-one time with them when I'm up there. Yes, they're little babies; they ain't even a year yet, but I have my one-on-one time with them so that I can help in making sure that he maintains that joy that he has. Johnny look at you and just start laughing for no reason. I have no idea what's funny in this boy's head, but he just looks at you and just, I don't know if we're funny looking. I don't know if we're just some weird creature sim. I don't know what's happening, but I do know he has that joy that you speak of with your son. And I personally am trying to protect it at all costs. I want him to grow up with that joy in him. And it's not just a smile. You know, for me, the biggest part of what you were talking about, part that hit me the most was the unspoken abuse. And the abuse can come in many, many ways. It can come from verbal abuse, it can be sexual abuse, it can be all of those types of abuses, mental, emotional, all of those types of things. And I know a majority of the men that I know that I've had in my life, friends, relationships, whatever the case may be, has suffered from some sort of abuse. But because they're men, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men that I know dealt with sexual abuse. And you know how I know, even if they don't know? Because when they were 8 years old, they lost their virginity to their babysitter. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seems like a cool story to your homeboys, but when you think about that, that's abuse. But we don't talk about that. So these guys, they end up growing up and expecting certain things from women and looking at women in a certain way. And we can't figure out why it is that there's nothing we can do to convince them that, you know what I'm saying, a bank account and good peen is what's going to keep us happy forever. They just not convinced of it because how were they introduced? So many different things. But that right there, I love your vulnerability in your work because, you know, you speak real stuff. And I think that this right here speaks on so many different things. I see my dad is nodding. What's your thoughts, Daddy?
First of all, I just want to tell you, first of all, Jason, that was strong. That was strong. And different layers and levels in which you came back with is what really got to me. But there was one part in particular when you went to a part about the young man that thinks that doesn't think anything wrong with objectifying women. That doesn't think there's anything wrong with disrespecting women. Doesn't think anything. And one part you might have alluded to it, but it's a lot of times that's the lead in to actually physically abusing women, because once you lose total respect for them, you know, once you lose total respect, then at that point, you figure no matter what you do, you all good. And that's where the problem, I think that's where the problem really lies in a lot of these relationships. I've been blessed to have, you know, a daughter, but I also been blessed to finally have a son. But before that, I had my grandson. And it's like I got that, my nephews, and I've always tried to impart upon them, you know, the importance of, and I say that I'm 66, man. You know what I'm saying? Different generation from a lot of people, different generation, I'm sure, from a lot of people watching this. You know what I'm saying? Back, there's a show on TV called Mad Men. That's not a figment of their imagination. That's exactly how women were treated back in the 60s. I saw it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I think that to a certain degree, not to a certain degree, I know that it affects a lot of men today, how women have stood up and finally said it's not like that anymore. And they did. And I think what's messing up a lot of men today is every time there's some kind of revolution, it's violence. It's, you know, all up in your face, the whole 9 yards. Women did it through education. You know, they did it by educating themselves, moving themselves and making themselves knowing their value and making everybody else respect their value. Even though there are still men that do these things that you speak about in your piece, there are a lot of women, man, that's just not having that no more. You have to completely come a completely different way with them now, because the education and understanding that they bring to the table, they know their value, they know their worth, and they're not going to settle for anything less. And that's a threat to some men. And that's just being honest, you know. And I'm not just talking about guys my age. They're guys younger than me that still haven't caught on, you know.
Well, Jason, so My dad just said, it's because a lot of times we know our worth, we know our value. I think the assumption is often made that men know their worth and they know their value. I personally believe that a lot of this behavior comes from overcompensating for not feeling your worth and not feeling your value. I see a lot of times on my timeline, um, any woman that isn't in the kitchen cooking and saying yes, sir, to their man is just being masculine. Because I'm a single woman that doesn't have a man that can do all of these things and I'm forced to do things on my own, I'm too masculine. I'm really not. I don't want to take out the trash. I don't want to do any of those things. I don't. I just don't have any options. So, what do you do? See, for me, I tried to raise Makai to be the man. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, and if this blows up one day, somebody gonna take this snippet and run with it and make me look crazy as hell.
And you
And then
still
I'm
you still committing to saying it though, right?
I'm gonna say it because I mean what I'm saying. You know, somebody just sound weird. Okay, but I raised Makai to be the man that I wanted to marry.
Mm.
Okay, and when I say that, it's not that I want to marry my son, but I know good qualities in a man. I want Ava to marry someone like Makai. I want he just have him already. Hey Ava, this dude.
He got the quick draw.
You know what I'm saying? He quick with it. And then Johnny. Oh. Wait,
Boom.
it
Look at his face though.
It won't leave him out. It won't leave out.
That's his version of
But yeah, I know the mistakes that my dad made. I know the mistakes of the men that I've dated, the men that I've been friends with. So my uncle always said to me, you don't have to learn everything through your own experiences. Sometimes you can learn through other people's experiences, right? So my way of countering that is to try to instill in Makai and brother, I didn't forget his name, y'all. I just call him brother, and if you look at my post, you see it's capital B. That's his name. Her name is sister, capital S. Okay. But with brother and Makai, I try to do my part as a woman to say, you're worth it. You're worthy. I tell Johnny, you are perfectly Johnny. Can't nobody else be a better version than Johnny than you, bruh. I don't care what happens. You're perfectly you. So as you had two girls, and your girls are just getting older and wiser. Your oldest one got bars herself. She is going to be on here one week. I did tell her that we agreed to it. But now you have a boy. And I know not that you want your babies dating people right now, but I know that you're setting the foundation by showing them what a good man is, their expectation. So it's kind of different, I would believe, with your boy. What's your plan there? How do you keep his black boy joy?
Well, first, my expectation for him, the bar should be higher than me, right? I feel like I should be the low level that he has to walk over. I think as people, we have to do better than the ones before us because we have access to more information. We have access sometimes to resources. And so if somebody laid on their stomach so you can stand on their back, you shouldn't be laying on your stomach as well. It just doesn't make sense. So my goal and my strategy for him is to first for him to tap in to his heavenly Father, because that's where it begins. Because if I mess up tomorrow and start doing some wild stuff, for me to be his role model, that's going to take him down a different road, right? It got to be something. It's always got to be something higher. I heard once a guy say, how did he say it? He said, that which you worship is higher than yourself. It has to be. You know what I mean? And so he has to be higher than me. So he needs to tap in, and he needs to be personal for him. So my goal and my strategy is to facilitate that environment so he can do so. Whether that environment means encouragement, whether it means being kind with my words to people around them, whether it's me doing kind act for people so he can see, whether it's me, like my dad used to do. He would always say, he would always get on me because I would, I'm 5, 6 years old, and I'll walk through the door and, let the door close, and he'd be like, you got to hold the door open for people. Hold it open for people. You can't let the door slam on people. So, I remember being like in my early teens, and like a church is getting out, and I go out the door and I'm literally holding the door for like a whole hour because no one's taking the door from me. I'm just holding it. Like,
they don't do that.
I cannot disappoint my dad and let the door close on somebody unless they stood and said, okay, I got it. So those are the type of things that, the type of strategies that I have to better myself. So that way, he can at least say, all right, well, this guy was at least close to where I want to be. So let me surpass them. You know what I mean? So that's my strategy.
I'm curious about something. When I listen to your bars, I gotta get used to those words too. I mean, like, I listen to your poetry, but hey, 1970s, y'all, New York.
It's okay.
When I listen to your spoken word, when I listen to it, how much of everything that I heard, how much of that, and I hope I'm not getting too deep on this, but how much of that is from personal experience? Because some of that's while you were doing it made me like wince a couple of times. I mean, did this brother go through that?
I would say 10% was actually what I went through. 10%, and that's the I'm being liberal there. 10%.
Okay.
But I don't know if you were done your question.
No, that was basically.
So 10%.
How much was yours, and how much it was? Because experience to me, I always tell people when I do my comedy shows, is like everything I say on stage, I've either done it or I've seen it firsthand. So that's what I was wondering. I guess that's the question I'm asking.
I would say 10%. I would definitely say 10%. Some of those feelings I infused in there, like being bullied. Like, of course, I got bullied before, and I know how it made me feel. You know what I mean? I've been on the dishing side of being a bully. So yeah, of course. And when I say bully, I mean like saying anything to tear somebody down repeatedly. Even if you feel it's in your own defense, I'm defending myself. Because sometimes we have this idea that we can do something to somebody and it's not wrong because, they ain't going to be making fun of me. They ain't going to say this to me. It's like, bro, it's still wrong. Like, no matter how you look at it, right? You got to kind of, check the way you look at it. So yeah, I've been on the receiving end and I've dished some of it out. So it's a small percentage, but one of the things that I feel is one of my strong points, and my mom used to always tell me this, and she was like, you should never have to always learn from experience. There's got to be some times where you can literally look at what's happening around you, make an assessment, right? And then make a decision, right? With the information that you have, right? So not everything, certain things, but not everything. And so just looking around at the people around me and being able to empathize with people is a quality I would say I would have. It's probably my kryptonite because I will empathize so badly that if you tell me you sick and after you finish talking to me, I'm having symptoms just like you, right? Ask Verse, she'll tell you. Like,
that's why I try not to give too much of my grief. I have to be putting in there, listen, I'm okay. Because I already know your whole day about to be depressed now. So I'm okay. I just need to get this out.
I have to be real careful with that as well. That's my kryptonite. But I mean, at the end of the day, we all real people. We all see things happening. We all know things are happening and we see it. And it's part of the human experience. And so I put a lot of that into my work. I would have to say that I'm more interested in telling the truth than I am about bars.
You just happen to have 5 bars while you're telling the truth.
Yeah, well, the goal of the bars is just to give people something to chew on. I know what the culture is like. You know what I mean? Being able to have pen game matters. To be able to have a mean pen is something that people respect. And if you can garner that respect, then you can pass the message along. And I believe, some of the greatest orators and influential people have been able to do that.
Most definitely. I think this is one Um, I think this is one that just, I don't know, it kind of hits different. And I'm not a boy. I'm black, but I'm not a boy. But I know what it is to be on the receiving end of a man that is hurting. Whether it's an obvious hurt, whether it's a conscious hurt, subconscious hurt, whatever the case may be. Because sometimes it may not necessarily be somebody that broke my heart or whatever, but it can just be the energy that they have. Like, I've been around men that are afraid because maybe they have a baby mama that's not letting them see their kids, or some weird stuff like that, or giving them hell, and you know what I'm saying, or maybe they can't get the job that they want, so you have a bunch of women that's bullying them because, oh, that's all you make, oh, that's where you work, or you're not good enough. Like, it comes in so many different forms. And when I think it's important to know that as we talk about protecting Black women, it is important for us to protect our Black men. And beyond, in addition to, but beyond, the police brutality and stuff that we see. Yes, we want to protect them from that, but protecting our men, our Black men, is being supportive even when they're down. Yeah, you met him and he had this, that, and the other, and then he lost it, and now you're holding it down. That doesn't mean that you're the man of the relationship. That doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, now you gonna check him and tell the man he don't got no balls because he at home. Understanding that even though I am the main one that says potential is a hell of a drug, and I don't be trying to date people for potential, but if you're moving in that potential, then to give the credit where the credit is due. I see you out here doing your thing. I see you not sitting on the couch and just playing your Xbox or whatever. You can do that sometimes. I have no problem. I play with you. But I also see that you're getting up and you're making moves, whatever those moves may be, recognizing that and honoring them, and not in a worship type of way, but simply you can honor all of those celebrities that you see. You know what I'm saying? You must can honor your brother, your sister, your cousin, your father, your friend, especially for us women that are raising boys. Even if you're married, even if your husband is there, even if the father is there, there are other men that create a village, because everybody's not good at everything. So where my child's father, my husband, may be great at such and such and such, his father may be great at talking about this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So understanding and recognizing that is a form of protecting and honoring our Black men, so that they can have it's kind of a chicken and the egg type of thing, right? Is it, honor, protect Black women so that we can be the backbones for these Black men. At the same time, you got to honor the Black men and protect the Black men so that they can be the strength to carry the Black women. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of just, one is just, I don't think one is necessarily greater than the other. I believe that, of course, we catch it harder a lot of times, but that's another episode. But I think that it's still important to recognize and do both.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you got it.
No, I was saying that, one of the things that I believe as a man, you had that old adage that says sticks and stones will break your bones, but names, words or names or whatever never hurt you. Fortunately, that is not true at all. Just to take you back to the section in the piece that deals with bullying, the first, I started this off with this young man being, originally when I wrote it, I thought about this young boy being, talked down to by the teacher. That's why I originally started this ad, but I flipped it. And here's the reason why I flipped it. Because before the teacher had access to you, home had access to you. Your neighborhood had access to you. Your immediate surroundings had access to you. So whatever they say, it just gets amplified when the teacher says it, right? If they say it. But so I made that come from his peers directly, right? So I explained And I'll go into bars here where he said, where, you know, in the piece, I say that, you know, reeling from the onslaught of his circumference, you know, like circumference, people in your circle, right? You know, and having that happen to you, you know, how you look around for people because you want to see. You ever see somebody like a little kid run around and they hit the wall or fall, boom, and everybody like, don't look at him, he's finna cry. Don't look at him. You know what I'm saying? So you look around to see if anybody's gonna help you. So he says, I scan with my two radii eyes, right, to see if, you know, if I would get some sort of help, right, and even looking double twice, and then not being able to get that and feeling your tears multiplying in your eyes, and then now you just want to go home and eat a poison lace pi is in 3.14. So I tried to incorporate. So I just gave you the formula to circumference. If anybody didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I had to, you know, so but
I was good at math, so I had peaked that.
Look, because those are elements of his experience in the classroom, right? This young person loves to learn, loves to read, so he knows the speed of sound, and he's able to relate his trauma to what is interesting to him. And so that's where I get that. Anyway, I say all that to say, when you hear those words from people who you respect, and we all have a respect for our peers at some point. It's like what the guy's gonna say, what the lady's gonna say, and to be able to not get that or get it negatively is so impactful. I remember one time, as a grown man, a woman told me, like, you're not even a real man, and y'all don't even understand. Like, I just like that thing, just like the way I describe. So that part, as Mr. Clark, that part came from me because you feel like this, those words came at you so hard, boom, like, you know what I mean, the 343 meters per second, it hit the glass of my window pane. It hit it so hard that it just sprinkled glass everywhere. So not only was the impact, but the residual of having pieces in you, digging in you every day, and having to pluck them out because they're scattered all on you. And then you're looking around and you're like, I'm hurt, but everyone else is in stitches. I mean, you know, they laughing, but I'm the one who's hurt. You know what I mean? So when that happened to me, like, I had to I didn't have to, but I went to reevaluate my whole life. Like, man, was I really not being a man when I held the door? Was I really not being a man when I, you know, did this or did that? Was I really not being a man when I you know, any other man would have did something violent, but I didn't? Was I, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm failing at life. You know what I mean? So those words, they take impact.
And isn't it amazing what you just said? Because you didn't do those things, right? You start questioning whether it's questioning your own manhood. That, to me, that's the killer right there. You question your manhood because you're doing something you know good and damn well is not what you're supposed to be doing. You know it's wrong, but you question yourself. Wait a minute, hold it. Even I know it's wrong. Am I a man?
Make me less of a man, right? Ooh,
make me less of a man because I didn't do it, even though it's wrong.
I heard a man say he ended up going. Something happened. He ended up going to jail. He didn't touch the young lady, but she said he did, and he went to jail. And in his conversation later on, he said, man, I should have just punched in the mouth because I'd still be in jail anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, that type of thought process, like, I did the right thing and it didn't pay off, so why even do it? Why even try? And so a lot of times you can become that when you hit that wall, when that thing hits that glass and you receive that damage. You're like, you know what, man, why even try no more? Why try to be a good person? Why try to do this? Why try to do that? Because it's not going to pay off anyway. So I might as well do what I've been doing. And that is a lie. That is a lie from the devil, because
pits of hell.
I mean, it's down there. You have to literally put on flame retardant gear to go get it. You know what I mean? It's down there. You know, so
yeah, it's a crazy world we live in, and we need men like you. We need pieces like this, and there are a group of men that do walk the same way you're walking and talk the same way you're talking. So it's just that because people love negativity so much, what's highlighted it on your timeline all the time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's the toxicity that's on your timeline, or you know, and the fact that I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody that was on social media, basically like the worse that her man treat her is, the better she feels. It's like she don't want no punk, you know, and it's like, and people, prime example, people will sit there and look at Sierra and say that Sierra went with the lame dude by marrying
Russell.
oh my goodness, the
Russell.
COVID got my brain. Russell Wilson, right? Thank you. And her real self was when she was with Future. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that her real self may have been with Future when she was a child, because she was still mad young when she was with this dude. You know what I'm saying? She's like in her early 20s and stuff when she, but as an adult, she realizes, that ain't really what I'm looking for. Or maybe she didn't even know what she was looking for, because society will have you think that that's the person that you should be looking for. As a black woman, you should be looking for the thug. You should be looking for the excuse me, nigga that got all the hoes. You should be looking for that dude. So now you get with someone who respects you, who treats you like a queen, who's never afraid to show it. Now, I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I don't. But I know what we see. I know when it comes to being a woman, I got an idea on that, right? A lot of times we reflect our man. So even in the way that she dresses, yeah, she's an entertainer. So right now she got some music and she's twerking and all that. That's business. I ain't talking about that. And the woman's regular stuff that you see, she presents herself in a classier way than she did before. Not to take away from her before, because that can be a part of who she was, and that's fine. But you grow. But automatically there is this whole thing about him being lame because he respects her. Him being lame because he's not taking on Little Future as his stepchild, but as one of his children. Now, I have no problem with, you know, I told Makai if he wanted to call Debbie his mom number 2, I don't care. I know who I am. I'm secure who I am. You can call everybody mama if you want to. I know who I am. I don't need to be like, oh, I can't do that because whatever. I know I'm Queen B. Okay, period. And until he get married and leave and cleave, I'm Queen B. All right. But you know, and I encourage him to leave and cleave when that time comes. I don't need to be Queen B at that point, but I digress. But you know, it's the way that we put that pressure on these men. So I know a few good men, but I know a few good men that have in their younger years have put on this air of being something that they're not, simply because, you know, they want to be accepted and not looked at as a square, as a lame. You know, I remember one time when we were in high school, Hugh was like, now this is how much of a tomboy I was. Hugh came to me and asked me how he should walk like a dude that was like, you know, whatever. So I gave him my little version of what I see or whatever. And one day I went over to his house and I'm like, bro, why are you walking like that? He was like, that's what you told me to do. I was like, never mind, just be you, bro. And Hugh has been himself and unapologetically himself. And I love every bit of him. And anybody who knows him, you can't help but at the very least respect him. Okay. But it came a lot from, it could have easily gone another direction, because it came from, I don't want people to look at me a certain way. I know what they're saying about me. I know how they're whatever. And now he was out here living his best life and doing what he does, you know? So it's important.
Yes.
For everything that you said, it's all important.
Before you break out, can I just say something real quick on that?
Sure.
One of the things, and this happened a lot, I think, and once again, I just refer back to, I'm a different generation, but there was a time, you know, 30, 40 years ago when I was going through that same type of situation. And even though you guys today, it's even worse. Y'all got the internet, people just getting on your business. You don't even know these people are. You know what I'm saying? But just the pressure to be a certain way. When I started doing comedy 44 years ago, right? It wasn't unusual for me to, you know, I knew the way I felt, what I wanted to do, but I watched a lot of Showtime the Apollo. I hung out at the Peppermint Lounge in Newark. You know, I started going to, you know, Soul Jam night, you know, Comedy Soul Jam night. And I said, oh, wait a minute, hold it. You know, I should be talking about, I grew up in the hood and how I was, you know, part of my expression, you know, taking out all the hoes and hitting that big ass and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't grow up like that, you know. And when I said, you know, I'm just going to do what I have to do, I'm going to do what I want to do, the reaction, the pressure that came back, yo, man, people like you, man. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, come on, brother, why don't you keep real? You know, take that shit back to the white clubs. You know, and I'm like,
right
what do you want? And it's like, this is what I do. This is who I am. I didn't grow up, you know, I didn't grow up. I was in the hood till I was 6 years old. And we got out, next thing I know, we were in a seven bedroom house.
Period.
I didn't have it. When I grew up, I never knocked one person or another with. I looked at, you know, I went to church like everybody else, you know, but I decided that wasn't a religion for me. And even when I became a Jew, the stuff that just came down on my head. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, hold it. At the end of the day, I think it takes more strength to not stand up to other people. The hell with stand up to people, but to stand up to yourself and look yourself and say, yo, this is not who you are, man. What's up? And people don't realize this. I can speak from personal experience. It is a lot harder. The hardest person you have to deal with when you're going against the grain is the person in that mirror.
Yes, sir.
You have to deal with.
Listen,
because that's the person who's going to look you back and say, yo, you have that back and forth. And if you can overcome that, then everything you said in your piece earlier, all right, the positive, you know, especially the positive, how, you know, how you grow, all that'll come to fruition. But everything you said does not cure itself. I mean, obviously the help of the Lord and all that helps. And that's great because let's face it, that's how it works. But none of that comes to fruition until you will first have to look in the mirror and go, yo, man, we need to talk.
Yes. Yes. And so those pieces were definitely mirror talking, exposure time. You know, there is a piece in there, like, you know, you talked about that pressure. There's that part of that 10% I talked about. It was me when I said that, allow me to tell and prove, you know, about an immature, impressionable dude. And I gave a story about, you know, me and the crew was chilling and a lady walked by and we all did like this, we all did like that, but I had no clue what I was looking at. That's a true story. Yeah. Like for a while, I was just like, because everybody did it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a young boy and I see everybody like, man. I had no concept. I thought maybe looking at her hair, her shoes, like looking at her backside it didn't make sense to me because I didn't grow up like that. So you laughing, but it's hilarious.
I know the feeling though. I know the feeling.
What are we looking at?
I think every man at that point, even I remember at times staying on 3rd and 3rd, Mount Vernon, hanging with guys. I didn't really do a lot, but when I finally did, a female walked by and I was young. I had no clue. All I know is they went like, So I went,
So, you know, and so like, I think about that time, right? And I realized that's why that piece that worked for me, right? Because even though I said 10% is directly, there are elements that still, like, you know, come from my life experience. But as I sat there and I'm like, you know, I had to think about it. Like, when did I have my boy joy extracted? You know what I mean? And I realized that the starting point, right, was when I started to learn objectification of women. You know, I was actually 5 years old when I learned through visual material on how to objectify women. So I you know what I mean? I had that experience. I had to look back because even writing this piece, I had to look within myself and say, well, when did that happen? Did I act on those things all the time? No, because, you know, I had the fear of the belt and the Lord in me. So I a lot of those things I couldn't do. Yeah, I did stay up late night and watch BET Uncut. I did that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that. I watched the movie Belly when I probably shouldn't have as a young person. You know what I mean? Classic. But so all of those things, like, you know, those pressure, I have to be a dog. I have to be, you know, I have to, you know what I mean? I had to wild out, you know, because if I don't wild out, then like you said, I'm a square and nobody wants to be around a square. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be that. But the truth is, as much as people, and here's why Black boy joy is important to me, of being who you are, because who you are is cool. Because at the end of the day, when you watch Lock Up Raw and they interview those dudes, a lot of them, you know what they say? Man, I should have did what my grandma told me to do. I should have did my schoolwork. I should have did this. I should have did that. Everybody should have, could have, would have at the end. You know what I mean? Because what you were doing as a lame, right, was cool. It was a lie that it wasn't cool. So now you in class as a young person and you got to pretend you dumb, right? You got to pretend you stupid and you don't know nothing. Like,
so you could be cool.
So you could be cool with the people who, they're not, even the people who act dumb, they're not really even dumb. It's just that circumstances at home suck the joy out of them. And so they don't want to try. Not that they can't, or they're incapacitated, they don't know what to do. It's just that it sucked the life out of them and they don't want to try. And here you are, you know, raised differently. You have all the tools and equipment, and now you want to be like somebody who wants to be where you at, but don't have the resources.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it happens. So it's all of our responsibility to hold our peers accountable, but also to instill that self-worth and everything in our young boys. Again, that's the reason why I tell Johnny, I tell Ava as well. I'm like, brother, you are perfect. You are perfect at being you. I don't ever want him to try to be like anyone else. That's something that I've admired about Makai. Boy, Makai don't care. Makai gonna do what Makai won't do. He don't care if it's cool. He don't care if it's nerdy. He don't care about none of that. If that's what he wants to do, that's what he's gonna do. And there's nothing that anyone can say and whatever, you know. And that's something that I've always admired about him. And I hope and pray that people will instill in those young boys around them that you are perfectly you. Even in your mess ups, you are perfectly you. You will learn from those. When you don't learn from it is when you're trying to be like somebody else. So you know in the pit of your stomach that what you did was dead wrong. But here you go not wanting to correct it because everybody else is doing it. We need to bring back. And so if they jumped off the bridge, you're going to jump off too. We need to bring that back. Okay? They don't say that no more. We are about to go to our break. On the other side, we're going to have a do unto others. Before we do go to our break, I'm not going to sit up there and act like Delbert Pitchrock. That's so funny. It's not looking clean today. I'm sorry. I can't go to the break without mentioning how clean my boy is looking right now.
I had a whole story time, everything planned or whatever, but you know, technology is the way it is. You know, I'm supposed to be the Caribbean Albert Hitchcock, Delbert Pitchrock. You know what I mean? So
why didn't I know? I
had it all set up. You know what I mean? Allow me to proceed with this hood drama, this ghetto. But you know, it happens. You know, but guess what? Verse, what I'm gonna do is I gotta redeem myself live. So now I gotta force myself to find some place and do it live, which is
y'all heard it right. So if you're in the Atlanta area, first of all, free. Ayo, free. You heard it. So I'm gonna need you to find a spot because free be at all the spots. So I'm gonna need you to find the spot. You know what I'm talking about? And holler at Jay and be like, okay, so we beating here on this night, period. That's just what it is. Okay.
Ooh, I'm scared.
And when it's recorded, we're gonna play it on the show. Period. That's what it is. Okay.
It will play on UVVTV, I'll tell you that.
Period.
There you go. Let's get it.
There we go. We'll see you on the other side of the commercial, y'all.
this with me, and then he passed out.
She thought walking away was hard to do, until walking away led to truth. Discovering a peace that was hovering, but never before allowed to enter her soul. She thought she'd grow old and even cold. If life continued on the trajectory it was headed, complacency seemed inevitable. Until she took a look at herself and said, I'm betting on you. Exploring new worlds and new views, different energies and attitudes. Allowing her heart to be open, it became consumed by what could be described as a fantasy, far from tragedy, no. A dream that if told in a story would seem too good to be true. Taking the form of perfection, physical frequencies felt through erections, emotional energies flowing like oceans. Ocean brings forth life anew, birthing art inspired by Mahogany's muse.
Oh, you hear that groove that you playing? Well, this groove is for you. And all of y'all listening, please don't get this confused. We ain't on no romantic edge. I'm just shouting out true friendship. See, I have a thing called do unto others, and I challenge everyone on their birthday to find someone to smother with love and gratefulness. Because the last year of your life without them, you may not have made it. And rather than be selfless, take a moment to be selfish and say to them, I appreciate you, Jay. Because when I lost it, you remained. When my heart was shattered, you prayed. And when I felt abandoned and alone, you stayed. Even when I needed my brakes changed, you saved the day. FaceTime assistant as I became just a melanated mechanic. LOL, because you couldn't tell me nothing. Ain't that something? But on top of that, you helped me get crispy with my bass. Now I know my neighbors mad every day when I play. And y'all, I be playing loud, lay. And since I'm talking about you, I can't leave my girl out. Without a doubt, Shannon, you are a pure soul. Securing y'all love, I swear y'all, our relationship goes. I love you both. Anytime I give up, y'all love brings me hope. Y'all are so dope. But since bar 11 is just a minute, I'ma close this out on that note. Though there's so much more I can say. But I wrap it up and simply say, thank you for helping me see another birthday.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yo.
Whoa.
Yo.
Whoa. Man, a mini challenge just scared me to death. Oh.
See what I'm talking about? I played that on my birthday because he was one of my do unto other people on my birthday, and I appreciate Jay every single day, not just on December 13th, because you are a dope friend to me. Bars, you see them bars coming out? Might as well just let me freestyle. Who want a bat? But yeah, I once again, Jay, I appreciate you for coming on here and sharing your gift. Jay does not just play the acoustic, my dude. Like, Jay played the bass too. He be teaching me stuff. Jay got bars. Jay's a great husband. Jay's a great brother. Jay's a great son. He's a great father. He's a great friend. I'm sure he's a great cousin. You know what I'm saying? He's just a great guy all around. And I so appreciate you coming on, being vulnerable, having this conversation with us, talking to us about Black Boy Joy, and hopefully this, and I'm gonna speak it. This is going to spark the minds of many people that's watching. When they watch it tonight, when they watch it on YouTube, when UVV blows up and everybody starts going to go see the old episodes so they can act like they've been down from the beginning, it's gonna spark them as well. Okay. So I appreciate you. I really, really do. You are truly the definition of a king.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you for allowing me to be on this platform. You know, I don't take that lightly. You know what I mean? For some individual, some group to believe in you strongly enough to put you on their platform just shows, you know what I mean, that they really care and they like what you do. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for, Verse for always pushing me when it comes to this stuff. Because in all honesty, I wouldn't be doing no live YouTube, nothing.
I don't ask questions, I just be like, hey, so this is the time of the.
Yeah, I mean, I might play music online, but any spoken word, nah, this stuff is, And then what's so funny? So I'm going over here, doing this, working on this piece or whatever, and my lovely wife says, "How come you didn't ask me to help you write the piece?" And I was like, "Wait a minute, you write poetry?" She's like, "Yeah, I got published stuff." I'm like, "What?"
Hold on, pause. Okay, so we got more. We gonna figure out when her week is. Okay, watch, I beat you up now. We gonna figure out when her week is. So you know what I'm talking about. We got the whole family doing stuff. And y'all know, I ain't gonna. Yeah, I am. Shannon, I know about that album you got, but I digress.
She can hear you too, so yeah.
I know about that album you got, Shannon. But yeah, we're gonna go on to do unto others. Do unto others is the same as it's been. And I'm actually gonna I'm gonna do something in a second, but this is specifically, I say it to everyone, and every week I'm talking to my ladies, but man, I'm gonna say it to you. I need you to make sure that you look in the mirror this week and you tell yourself all of the great things you need to hear. You tell yourself that you are worthy. You tell yourself that your value is not just in your bank account, son. You tell yourself that you are smart. You tell yourself that you are capable. You tell yourself that you can do anything. You are a leader. You are a king. After you've told yourself all of those things that you need to hear, right, to make you feel better, I need you to go find another dude, specifically another dude, and let them know, bro, you're dope. You're worthy. You can do anything. No, you don't have to say pause afterwards, okay? You don't have to. Ain't nothing feminine about, and even if it is, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, right? You need to be able to express your love to your bros so that they can know, because us women tell them, and sometimes they don't necessarily believe us. Sometimes they think we just saying that just because we like them, or just because we being sweet, or just because we're nurturing. But I venture to, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking if another dude tells you like you dope, bro, I feel like it hits different. Am I wrong? Yeah. It kind of hit different. Like, I might be on to something right now.
You dope, man. You dope.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So make sure that you do all of those great things. Also remember that if the birthday falls on this week, I need you to go and find someone who has done something great in your life that helped you get through the last year of your life, and let them know that they are appreciated. Get them a gift, get them a card, something to that effect. My Nana's birthday was this week on July 18th. Shout out to my Nana. Devin, this is the reason why Shay is not here today. It's because my goddaughter Devin is 13 in this piece. She ain't playing with y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? She a whole teenager in this piece, So make sure that y'all comment and stuff and say happy birthday to them. And then there's this guy, we used to call him the old man, right? And it was all jokes. We'd be like, the old man. It was all jokes. And then all of a sudden, his birthday came on the 19th, and bruh, he's just getting older and older. We don't know what to do, but I'm grateful he's getting older and older, because that means he's still here on this earth with us. And that is Edward H. Clark. Happy birthday, Daddy.
Happy birthday, man.
I'm always feeling and always appreciative anytime you can make another revolution. It's good. And I took the doing others, if you don't mind me just interrupting just a little bit with this. The doing others thing is a good thing, y'all. Let me tell you something. You want to feel good, you know what I'm saying? Put yourself on the back burner for a moment. And that's what I did on my birthday. My Aunt Karen, man, she's really cool. And I mean, like, since these kids have been born, this woman, man, is like, everybody say you have kids, that person is there. Like, this woman is here overnight, anytime, middle of the night, whatever. Kids need anything. Woman came to the house one time and tried to snatch the kid out of my own bed because she thought the kid was choking.
That's medical people, man.
Oh, she keeps it a buck. So I mean, yeah, doing the others. I mean, everything that we talk about, and I even try to talk about on Unvaccinated Voices. Doing the others is a good thing, especially when it's all about you. Forget about you for a minute and do something for somebody else on that day that's supposed, because that's the greatest. I think that's the greatest thing you can do. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dope. To remind people, I've said it before, but it was a teacher that I had. I think it was in high school. I want to say it was in high school, but it was a teacher that I had I can't remember the teacher's name, to be honest with you, but I do remember him saying that it was one of his kids' birthday and they got a present for somebody every year because he was teaching the children not to be selfish. Everything in about you receiving stuff. And I thought that was so dope, and it stuck with me forever. So I am grateful that I have my dad here another year. He has 2 little ones that are looking to him. And he is just becoming better and better every day. Every day of being a father, he's becoming better and better. Some people will sit there and say, "Oh, you jealous of your brother and sister?" First of all, what for? Because he don't even know them like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know them like that. Me and him got time in. You know what I'm talking about? Some invested time. Okay? So can't nobody mess with that, period. But I honestly would think less of you if you weren't better to them than you were to me. You were pretty great to me. But my thing is this. I was your first and only. So you didn't have any try-overs, do-overs, anything like that. It was one and done. Now that you have these other 2, all the things that you had that you may have felt like you could have done better, I see you doing that with them. And I commend you for doing that. Even something as simple as going to the gym every day just to make sure you're staying healthy to be able to be there for them. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Guns.
Just
Okay, just a little something like. I digress.
Hey, from 305 to 269, don't talk to me too much.
Hey, I'm not mad at it.
It's about to disappear on you.
You see what I'm at? But yeah, Daddy, I appreciate you just for being a man that always is willing to grow. I don't believe in you can't teach an old dog new tricks, because my daddy learning new tricks all the time. And he is an old dog. Oh, anyway. I just keep coming with it. It's because he's a comedian, y'all. I can do this.
Back to back.
Anyway, shout out to Shay.
I'm sorry, before you leave, I just got a quick program note. And that wasn't it. But I had a quick program note. Just let y'all know, Unvaccinated Voices will return live on August 4th. Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock. But until then, the best of. And boy, we got some really good best ofs coming up for y'all next Wednesday. Check it out. I got this really good one that y'all can kick. And then there's no one after that. And then August 4th, we will return live with Unvaccinated Voices. So we ain't got nothing but love for you. Don't forget to subscribe to UVVTV on YouTube and put parentheses around UVVTV. Remember to put the parentheses and the quotation marks around it. Okay.
Period. All right, y'all. So I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I got COVID and I'm about ready to die right now. So I'm about to go back to my bed. But in the meantime, remember how dope you are. Shout out to Shay. Shout out to Free. We missed you this week, but they will be back next week. Next week, we will have my boy Dante on here. He is an amazing songwriter. He kills the game every time. I surround myself with nothing but talent, so you shouldn't expect any less. So we'll see you next week. All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
You are lovely, kind, and intelligent. See it, embrace it, love it, display it, feel it. You are beautiful, live it. You are beautiful, say it. I am beautiful.
Say I am. You gotta tell yourself that you're beautiful. It's okay to tell yourself that you're beautiful.